Reuters is reporting on some important civil liberties news here. They explain a Democratic senator on Monday prevented legislation from being quickly considered that would expand the FBI's power to use secretive surveillance orders to obtain some internet records, arguing it would lead to a dramatic erosion of U.S. privacy rights. Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon placed a hold on the Annual Intelligence Authorization Act, which grants congressional approval for clandestine operations carried out by the CIA and other U.S. intelligence agencies. A provision of the authorization bill would allow the FBI to use national security letters, which do not require a warrant, to compel companies such as Google and Facebook to hand over certain internet records. These would include email metadata, some browsing history, and social media login information. Such an expansion would allow the FBI to retrieve sensitive data of U.S. citizens without court approval. Everybody say it with me, www.getafuckingwarrant.com. It ain't that hard. It ain't that hard. So, the Fourth Amendment is clear. This has been set up for the longest time. The idea is, somebody is potentially guilty of some wrongdoing. Interesting. Show an independent judiciary some evidence of that. Then they will grant you a warrant. Then you can search for a specific thing from specific people, and then that can be used in a court of law if it ends up going to trial. That is a system that has worked forever. But because it requires police work, because it requires intelligence, because it requires, having a procedure in place so that we don't take away people's privacy rights, well, the authorities don't like that very much now, do they? They would like the ability to look into whoever they want to look into for any reason whatsoever and use people's own information against them. Well, yeah, there's a giant problem with that. We don't trust you, and we're not supposed to trust you. That's not the way our government is set up, where the authorities get to do whatever they want, and they say, it's cool, just trust us. No. That's an authoritarian regime. That's a dictatorship. So what is it? What is it? Is that what we are? If we are that, then just come to terms with that and say that that's what we are. As opposed to pretending like we're something else. We care about democracy and privacy rights and civil liberties and everything, but we just want to spy on anybody for any reason whatsoever. No. That doesn't make sense. And remember, in case you think, come on, Kyle, they're only going to look for the proper things, just remember what we learned in the Snowden leaks. So, for example, people at the NSA spied on their love interests. It was so common that they had a term for it. They called it love int, short for love intelligence, where somebody would go out to lunch. I'm going to go grab some pizza, dude. You want to come with me? Nah, man, I'm going to stay here and spy on my ex-girlfriend. It was a thing, and the list of abuses, there was an audit of the NSA, remember, in the wake of the Snowden leaks, and they found thousands of wrongdoings in a single year. Another common thing, we're going to search for this person. Look, 18 people came up with that name. Look at all their information, yeah! So when you don't have a warrant system set up, or you have a FISA system set up where it's a rubber stamp and everything is a warrant but not really a warrant because it's a rubber stamp, when you have that kind of a system set up, well, you've made it so that the privacy rights are gone, and that's not constitutional. You can come up with as many rationalizations as you want, but people have a protection from unreasonable search and seizure. When your grandma Maud's metadata is stored in a computer in some gigantic facility in Utah or some shit, okay, that's a violation of her privacy rights. To collect everybody's metadata all the time, and now they're going a step further and they're saying, not only do we already have access to phone metadata, for example, whenever we want for any reason, no warrant necessary, well, now we want to look at your browser history, now we want to look at your emails, now we want to look at your login information. Well, then why are we even pretending to have a constitution anymore? Why are we even pretending to have a Fourth Amendment anymore? And lest you think, well, this is going to lead to more terror attacks if you abide by the way the system's supposed to work, no, because this way you can get information overload. You have so much information and you're drowning in it all the time. There's no way you could see through absolutely all of it, so then the people slip through the cracks. If you actually have to do your intelligence work and your police work and get evidence and go to an independent judiciary and get a warrant, well, guess what? You're much more likely to stop attacks and to do the right thing because your scope is narrowed and you should only go after high-value targets in that respect. So It's obvious that people in power will abuse that power. If you put somebody in a dark room alone and you give them all the access to everybody's private information around the world, yeah, some of them are going to be fucking creepy and start looking for nudes from some people. Some of them are going to spy on their ex-girlfriends. Some of them are going to do other things. You don't give people that power because absolute power corrupts absolutely. The founders knew that. The Constitution was crafted to avoid situations like this, but nonetheless, we go right down this wrong path anyway. Well, thankfully, we have some good politicians like Senator Ron Wyden here who say, not on my watch. Not on my watch. Did you know that when the Patriot Act was passed, there was a question as to whether or not the government can look at your library records without a warrant? The interpretation of that section of the Patriot Act has been so vastly misused and misconstrued that now they use that same provision to allow the collecting of everybody's metadata on everything. Even the person, Representative James Sensenbrenner, who wrote that part of the Patriot Act, came out and said, this is not what it's for! You shouldn't be able to take everybody's everything. But the government goes, well, we don't care. That's how we're going to choose to interpret it. Well, your interpretation is wrong. The Patriot Act should have never been passed in the first place. But even with it passed, you shouldn't have the ability to go through everybody's metadata. Even the person who wrote it is telling you that. We always debate what the Founding Fathers meant. None of them are alive to tell us exactly what they mean and how they would interpret, for example, the Second Amendment today. The guy who wrote the Patriot Act is still alive. He's telling you stop spying on people. And what do they? That's what they do. Well, I don't hear anything. Let's keep spying. Fuck you.